All right, welcome all. This is Raymond for Stream Gamers. Again, we are on part 4 of the melt run. As you can see, we're in a little smaller aircraft. It's a Beechcraft KingAir 350, and with the Alaskan State Troopers on it. So we're gonna do this one cold and dark. We're going to put the flight plan in. This one doesn't have a utility built into the FMC to import flight plans in it. But there are 2 ways that you can do it, and I'll talk about both ways. I'm going to do the manual way, but there is a more automated way of doing it. If you have Navigraph, then you can do it in the automated version of it. Anyways, so we're departing PAJN, and we are arriving at PASI. So that's our flight. I've elected to go with maybe a little smaller aircraft, mostly because the leg is really short. It's about 90 nautical miles. It just doesn't make sense to bring this thing up in the air over 90 miles. I imagine they do, but I've just elected this way. I can get a different flavor of a different flavor of airliner in the mix. So here we are, sitting at the ramp, and we're here, ready to go. I'm going to go through this. A lot of this stuff is not in memory, so it will take me a little while to get through it all. So first thing is we'll get rid of the yoke, because we need to come down here and we need to put on the battery. We'll let everybody know that we're beginning to do something here on the ramp, so everybody kind of stay clear. That brings this up. We're going to put on the avionics. There's the avionics. So our avionics screen is lit up, and so from here we're going to push ourselves back a little bit, and then we're going to start up, and we're going to get the flight plan in. Actually, I'm going to do the flight plan first. So the way you do the flight plan is you go into here, and you can go split screen. And before I do that, let me go and show this way. I'm not going to do it this way, but if you have Navigraph installed within the sim, you have this little Navigraph thing here. You can click on that, and if you created a flight plan in Sim Brief, as I do pretty much every time, why is that? Oh yeah, that is up because I've got that up. So if you've created a flight plan using SimBrief, such as this, you then have the ability to bring that flight plan in here. So I'm going to unload this one. This is a previous one that I did. So now I'm going to go import. Oops, hang on, I gotta get rid of that, and I gotta show you on my screen. Okay, so now I'm gonna go import. I'm gonna import from SimBrief. It's gonna load all my SimBrief flight plans, recent SimBrief flight plans. This is the one we want. We're going to load it. So there is the flight plan, and now you are supposed to be able to export it by clicking export. Now I see this is the issue that we had the previous time. There's supposed to be another window here, and that window is gone. Where is that window? You're supposed to be able to click on something here that says export to the sim, or something to that effect. User waypoint pin. Yeah, so it's obviously not working. Oh, here, load as active flight plan, ATC not supported. So let's load that in, and let's see that it actually load, and it did. So that was the tool that you can do that within, right? So there's the flight plan. Oops, I keep scrolling out. Let me just scroll out this way. And so if I keep on zooming out, you'll be able to see the entirety of the flight plan as you saw it in this view. That's odd. Regardless, anyway, so we'll just move on. So that's one way to do it. Another way to do that is to click on this up here called split. You get this menu. To go to flight plan, you get this menu. You go to active flight plan, and you would put in your departure. You just click in here, put your departure in. You'd come down to the destination. You'd put your destination in, and then you would click on add entry to waypoint, and then you would add the individual waypoints one at a time into the flight plan. So because we've done this now, we've got that flight plan in there. We're going to use that. To get out of this menu, you go here. You click on this little bud here, this little rosebud thingy, bobby there, whatever it's called. You click on map. Map? Yes, map. And then click on full. Okay. So we got the flight plan in. Let's get a pushback here, and we'll get the engine started. So we're in here. There is no built-in pushback utility. So we go to ground services. We go pushback. And we're going to be pushing back. We're going to taxi down here like that. So we'll wait for the pushback cart to get here, which takes an inordinate amount of time. But so like I said, we're going to push straight back, and then we're going to turn left, and we'll just get ourselves pushed back a little ways. I don't care to have ourselves pushed back too far. I should take off the brakes. Brakes are right here. That Microsoft needs to do something about these pushback guys and how they set this up. Because all of a sudden, boom, there now he's aligned. He was buried under the aircraft, but now he's aligned up properly. Anyways, so we want to make a left turn out. The way you know that is look at the back of the aircraft and then decide, are you going left or are you going right? In this case, we're going left. So I'm going to stop the pushback. There it is. And we're going to put the brakes on. Now we're going to start. So we're going to push our props up. Whoops, that's not what I want. Fuel is up. Yeah, I did it again, didn't I? Then we're going to start there. Okay. I'm going to close this. So now we've got fuel. All we've got to do now is we've got to spin the engine over, right? So for example, we need to spin the engine over. Have I hit the wrong button? I may have hit the wrong button here. Hang on now. I think I have. Let me take this off. Oh no, there it goes. So the engine is spinning. So now, as we see the engine spinning, we're watching. I think I've done those wrong. I think I needed to put this up first. The temp is up, so the engine is coming online. Once the engine has started, we then have to turn the igniter off. Is it the igniter we have to turn off, or do we have to? Engine auto igniter. This is the auto igniter. We are started. Yes, we are. So we can shut that off. We then put this one on, and we wait for this one to start spinning. There it goes. We're letting the temp come up. This is what I missed on the last one. See as that temp rises, that N1 as it rises. And the fuel is on already. So I think it's similar to the jet engines. I may be doing this out of sequence, because this to me looks like this is an auto igniter, right? So it's just constantly keeping the engine ignited should it flame out. I think once you put the actual fuel to the engine, and you get the engine spinning over and dump the fuel in, just like in any aircraft, it ignites and starts. Anyways, so there we go. We should have two engines that are started, and we can then turn this off. We put the gens on, so we get the right and left generators on. So now we're running not on battery anymore. We're actually running on the left and right engine generators. We are flying in some cool weather, so we'll have our anti-icing on. We will put our beacon. Our beacon is on. I did turn that on. We'll have our pitot heat. Pitot heat is on. I have switches for all of this, but anyways, so pitot heat not on. Okay, pitot heat is not on. Pitot heat is on. Pitot heat is down here, right here. Okay, so now our flight plan is in. We are pretty much set. We're going to put a little bit of trim in. We won't use flaps. We'll just put a little bit of trim in, and we'll taxi out to where we're going. Let's get the brakes off. Our takeoff will be, and our flight as a whole is going to be mostly, not mostly, we're going to be flying autopilot, but we're not going to have, like an airliner, we're not going to have any computer system managing throttles and climb and descents and stuff like that. That's all going to be controlled by manual input into the autopilot. Right, push her up forward a little bit here. Get her rolling. There we go. Summer's in the 110, 120 is rotate for us. There's 120, and up she comes. Oh, she was a little reluctant to come up. All right, so we're flying along here. We're gonna stay on the runway heading. We should have preset this up, but I'll do it now. Gears going up. Excuse me. We're climbing to 16,000 feet. And I think that pretty much does it for us. I think we can, let's get the autopilot lit up. Let's get nav hold on. Let's get vertical on. My climb speed is set at 800 feet per minute. I'm going to increase that. I'll probably climb out around 1,300 feet, maybe 1,400 feet, something like that. And as I said, we're climbing to 16,000. So we know what we're doing by looking here. So here's 16,000. There's our climb rate. There's our speed. We want to manage our speed, and we can climb fairly aggressively, but we also want to make sure that we're not losing speed. I'll set this for GPS. There we go. So that's how you set this for GPS. You click on this. This opens this menu up. and then you can change your CID source either to VOR1, VOR2, or GPS. And we'll click that again, and that disappears. And that's it's a fairly simple, less complicated way of taking off. You can get into more detail. Now keep in mind there are some systems in here which don't function. It isn't anywhere near to the level of detail that the PMDG 737 or even the A310 are, but it's still fairly decent. And setting up the flight plan and starting the engines and all that kind of stuff. Of course, you don't have APU, so you've got engines, and then you just crank them over and they start. So we're going to climb it out, and we don't have top of descent, and we don't have we don't have top of climb, and we don't have top of descent here. So that's a thing that we're going to kind of manually watch. When I say manual, I have something that kind of guides me into these decisions, in when we should or shouldn't be doing certain things. So, for example, oops, I'm going to increase my climb rate because I want to climb a little quicker. But I'm going to show you that in nav, in SimBrief. There it is. I knew I was going to get to it sooner or later. So SimBrief has these markers. TOC. You may not be able to see it. I'll zoom that in. I'm sure, and so you should be able to see it. So we departed here. We're flying this way. Our top of climb is right here, so our intentions to be at top of climb are somewhere in this area right here. They hope that we're going to be at top of climb. And likewise, there's another indicator for top of descent, and that is indicated right here, which is right around, just get the right space. It's right around here somewhere is where our top of descent is. Now this becomes more of a manual process than it is an automated. Well, it's not automated. It is automated in the sense that you set a dial and it should do it. But keep in mind, you always have to be mindful of your climb rate, where you want to achieve your top of climb, as opposed to your speed. So what I'm doing is I'm slowly but surely I'm increasing my climb rate, hoping I'll be able to maintain my actual speed. And you can see, so I've bumped it up to 1900 and I'm still gaining. So I'm going to climb it up at 2000. We'll see what that does for us. That looks good. So let's try 2200. I think 2200 is going to be where it's going to just kind of level off and say, I can't gain speed anymore. In fact, I think that's what it is. So I probably should have been climbing at 2200 feet all along, because you can see I want to be at 16,000, and I want to be at 16,000 somewhere's right around here in this area. Somewhere I want to be 16,000, and so I'm headed to EFF, and you saw that indicator somewhere. I saw it. It's one of these. Oops. It's this one right here. This is ESS, or EF. EEF is right here. So that's, we are 6 nautical miles to here. So you can see that I'm probably not going to get 16,000 feet. right here where I should be, but I'm hopeful I'll be 16,000 here. And that's because I should have probably planned this out a little bit better, and I should have probably been climbing much more aggressively at the start, because at the beginning I was at 1,400 feet per minute, and I should have been climbing more aggressively. Anyways, I'm going to have a little bit of scenery here, and we're going to stop yapping, and we're going to pick it up at top of descent. All right, so we are ticking along here. We are probably, my guesstimation is to where our top of descent, which is right here, is probably 15 miles or so, in around that area. But let's quickly get started with this. Right. So this is the chart, which is the approach chart. See up there, approach chart. So this is the approach chart for runway 11, and this is where we're going to be coming in on. We are right here. Our top of descent is right here in this area, and you can see there's 3,600 feet is right here. But if I look in the flight plan itself, let's look at the flight plan. Let's look at the active flight plan. You can see I didn't put in the arrival, did I? I needed to put the arrival in, and it didn't do it. Isn't that interesting? All right, let's go to the procedures. Let's go to a procedure. Let's go to an arrival, and let's. Oh, I did that one wrong. I want to use approach. I want to use LDA 11. I want to use transition is hex AB, and I want to load that in. So we're going to go back out. Oops, we're going to go back to the map. We're going to go back out, and that should get it. Now we got to start coming down. So let's take care of that right now. We're going to come down to 3,600 feet. Actually, we're going to come down to about 4,200 feet. I'm just dialing that in right now. We're going to begin our descent. We're going to pull our throttles back. We're going to get our descent coming down about 2,000 feet per minute. And we're losing some speed, which is exactly what we want. You can see right here, we're losing speed. We're descending 2,000 feet per minute. And our descent that we want to descend to, as I said, is about 4,200 feet. Now, I want to do that because if we look at here, you can see the area here is 3,600 feet, and we're going to come across here, right? So we want to be, this is 2,000, but there's a big hill right here, and this kind of loops us around so that we can eventually get to flight plan, active flight plan. So now I should have that in here right there. Hex AB, 3,600 feet. That's where it wants to be. Let me get rid of this screen here so you can see what I'm looking at. So I'm looking at hex AB, which is the same thing we saw on Navigraph. 3,600 feet, that's what we want to be. And you can see right there is hex AB. That's kind of right at the start of the feathers. Or sorry, just before the start of the feathers. We want to be 3,600. And then we're going to be 2,400 here. We're going to be 1,800 here, and so on and so on. And our final is 350 feet or so. But we'll disengage autopilot long before that and manually bring that in. So let's take this off, and let's just kind of take you through here. You can see 3,600, 2,400, 1,800, and as we come down, there is 1,260 and 580, and the final, which is 346. That's the one that I was talking about. So we'll just track this as we come down. Right now, as I said, we're heading for 4,200 feet, right there. And we're just breaking through here at 11.9, 11.8. We've got to Cluck. We've got another 17 nautical miles to Cluck. And then from there, it looks like we've probably got another, who knows, probably another 10 miles or so to Hex, maybe. Probably not 10, probably closer to 5 or 6, 7, maybe, something like that. So I'm trying to get the thing to come down as quickly as it can without building too much speed. And ideally, I'd like it to actually start to lose speed. So I'm going to pull the throttles back just a bit more and see if we can't get it to do just that. There it is. It's now starting to, you can see it's now starting to lose speed. Not by much, it is. See if we can pull that back just a bit more. Yeah. I think if I continue to lose altitude at 2,000 feet per minute, there's a formula that you can use to calculate this out. I'm not going to do that. But I think if I keep dropping at 2,000 feet per minute, I think I'll be very close to that 3,600 feet at Hex. But I'm going to aim for 4,200 because, as I said, we can't see it just yet. But there is this huge bump, and I think it might be that one. Maybe not. But it's similar to that anyways. And so we're going to kind of fly around it. But we're going to be close to it. So we'll let it keep coming down here, and we'll let ourselves get closer to Hex, and then we'll pick it up from there. All right. So that bump over there I was talking about earlier, that is the one we're going to come around. We're going to kind of come around this side of it and then loop around, and then come in the runway kind of like that. So it'll be something to that effect. So I changed my plan a little bit, not greatly. Instead of 4,200 feet, I brought it down to 4,700 feet because I was coming down a little too quick. Now I want to be 3,600, as I said before, at Hex, right here at Hex AB. So I want to be there, and I am about 10 nautical miles away. So keep in mind, and I just got caught with this a little bit, caught off guard a little bit. Keep in mind, when you're flying these large jetliners, you're flying 250, 300, knots and so on. These things are flying considerably slower, 200 knots. And so things happen at different rates and different paces, and so my descent, I was a little too anxious to bring myself down. I didn't need to do that quite so aggressively, and so forth. So yeah, but now we're going to begin our descent down to our 3,600 where we're supposed to be at. So we'll do that right now. Get ourselves down. We'll throttle back a bit. We want to start reducing our speed, and end up in an ideal world, I'd like to touch down somewhere around 110 knots in that area. You can go slower, you can go faster, but in that 110, 110, somewhere in that area is where I'd like to be. And right now what I'm doing is, and you can see that I'm reducing the speed as we're coming around the corner for Hex, and we're trying to achieve our 3,600 there. So we're going to be a little more aggressive. We still got 6 miles to get there. There's our airport, and our runway is right there. So I will finish dialing this down all the way down to I think it was 400 was my final. Yeah, it is 400. You can see right there. So I will continue dialing this down to 400, and we'll just keep on dropping down to 400. But like as I say, probably long before that, I will take control. We'll hit the descent rate again, or the VS, vertical speed, and we're going to reduce how much we're descending because we don't need to descend as aggressively as we are. There's our speed 130. 138, I guess it's a more realistic speed. So when you're flying this in, there is an ILS that we could have used. I could have dialed in the ILS frequency. You can do that by, let me just get ourselves back out. Oops, let me get ourselves back out. Full screen. No. Ah, I've done the bugger that up. Split. Come on, I want map. There, map. So you can go to your Nav1 radio. You could dial in the frequency, which is 108.9. You transfer that into the active, and you enter that in. And now you could do an ILS landing into there, which would then take you and control your vertical and your horizontal hold and stuff like that. I'm not going to use that. There's no need for me to do that, but you could do it if you wanted to. So we'll just keep on coming down. I think we're going to reduce our descent rate just a bit. I don't think we need to descend quite so aggressively. We'll probably set her for around 600. And that might be even more than we need. Let's set her for 400. Our speed is bleeding off. We're going to get one stage of flap in. It's going to nose down a bit, but it'll come back up and level itself out here shortly. So a lot of what we're doing here is just kind of measuring and looking at what the trajectory of this actually is. And I'm either reducing or increasing the vertical speed, or accordingly. So you can see right now we're not descending at all, and that's because I have the vertical speed set to 0. But as we get closer in, I'm going to begin my descent even further down. So we're getting close. I could at any point right now, I could just elect to disengage and finish the flight off manually myself. I should get the gear down, I guess. I will reduce my speed a bit more. I'm going to start descending a little bit again. I'm going to reduce more speed. Remember, I've got another stage of flap, so I'm going to put that in right now. Just that'll help bleed off that speed a bit more. And let's bring her down a little bit. I can see that my trajectory coming down is maybe a little long. I'd probably land a little long if I don't start coming down a bit more. I am a little high. Do they have the lights there? They do. You can see those lights. So we're gonna right there, the lights right there, the PASI. I think they're called PASI lights. We're not trying to touch down here. We're trying to touch down here. So, we got somebody there. I think we're going to, yeah. I think we're going to disengage autopilot. Have in vertical. Now we're going to start getting it in ourselves. You notice how we're not lined up, and that's because we didn't take the ILS in. We actually used GPS to bring ourselves in. So we're on full flaps. Our gear is down. See, full flap, gear is down. We're 104. We're looking not too bad. We are a little high, but I'd prefer to be a little higher than low. You'd always want to land long if you had to do anything. You certainly don't want to land short. So I'm going to start bringing it down a bit now. I'm going to try to get it to come down even more. My speed is in good shape, so we got that going for us. We got that guy taking off, and in we come. There we go. Two red, two white, which is perfect. We're going to be a little high here in a minute. Yep, I knew it. There we go. There we go. There's our touchdown just up ahead here. Let's bring her down, 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 down. Give it a little flare. And we're down. Reverse. A little squirrely. Okay. Didn't have to be quite so aggressive with the reverse thrust, which created it to be got it to be a little squirrelier than I'd like to have been. But neither here nor there. We are here. Certainly not one of my better landings or departures to begin with. I've done better, that's for sure. But still not bad. And I always like to capture my landings and departures. I will rarely change a video or redo a video just because of landing or departure. It is the way it is. I don't, yeah, see, I've throttled up way too much and our brakes are way too weak to stop it, but that's okay. So park brake on. And the way you shut this off, or the way I shut this off, this may not be the right way of doing it, but I'm going to shut the auto igniters. I'm going to shut them off. So we have nothing auto igniting here. And the way I shut it off is very simply, I shut the fuel off. And that you do that right here. Fuel off, off. And those engines will be powering down. Should be powering down. It has no fuel. There we go, they're shut down. Both engines are off. We come here. Let me just get a more direct look on this. Okay, so now we want to shut the gens off. We want to shut the avionics off. And we want to shut the battery off. That is the flight. I thank you for watching. By all means, if you would like, comment, subscribe. As I've said previously, if there's something about the video you don't like, don't feel like you have to hit like even though you didn't like it. Hit unlike, and that's fine. But please give me a comment again as to why you didn't like it. Anyways, that's me. That's the end of the flight. Again, I'm Raymond, and this is Stream Gamers. Appreciate your watching. And any comments that you'd like to have in the future, I'm happy to hear it. You enjoy the rest of your day, evening, night, morning, whichever it might be for you. Right? Bye-bye now.